fleshing out Mills's character, Brad Pitt, throughout the film, so that when it comes to that point, it's believable because he is this hothead.
Yeah,
and he's
exactly.
and he's the one.
He's very impulsive.
And acts on his emotions, and they even talk about that through some of the writing.
Yeah.
So when they get to that point, you know exactly why they went the direction they did with that character, because it makes total sense that he gives in, you know. And then he gets arrested because of they were supposed to be acting, he was under impunity.
Yeah.
Right?
He shot a man that was in police custody. You know, as valid of a reason as it might have been, it still was an unlawful reason
Under the
law. So that's why at the end he's, you know.
I love that you can hear the chatter of them in the helicopter in the back. And they're like, "Oh my God, call somebody, just call somebody."
Yeah, he's like, call somebody.
Yeah, McGinley, he's really good in the helicopter scenes too, because you can hear him chatter and he's, you know, making his reports about, there's no ambush out here, and you know, when the box and the van arrives, you can hear all that, and he's good, and he's almost as fucking shook by it as you know, Mills and Somerset are, and you can hear it in his voice.
I concur.
Are we doing Swan Facts then?
Yeah, you can jump into some Swan Facts.
All right.
Swan Facts.
Cool.
Yeah.
You want me to go?
Go for it.
All right. So New Line initially wanted the ending changed, as we had said, but Brad said he would not work on the film if the ending was touched.
Damn. Shot caller. Who the fuck I am?
New Line didn't want that ending originally. They apparently sent Fincher that original screenplay. Fincher read it and said, "Oh, I'll do it with this ending."
Yeah.
And New Line was kind of like, "No, we don't want to do that ending." And I think the president of New Line said, "If you'll agree to do this movie, we'll keep the ending." So that's how they hooked Fincher. But then even during production, they were like, "Oh,
still
it's
pushing to change
too
it."
dark. Can you change it?" And Fincher and Pitt stood very firm on it and said, "No, we'll quit if you change that ending."
Well, I think that was the right move, because if you change that, then
It's
like
not
I said,
as effective.
yeah, it would not be remembered right now if they had gone
God,
any other
no.
way.
God, no. So, do you know what the endings were?
No, I do.
I do.
But that's
I
where
know.
you come in.
That's where I come in. They had multiple endings that they had written and storyboarded. I don't think they ever filmed any of them. But there was an ending where Somerset actually shoots John Doe because A, he was retiring, but B, it won't complete the masterpiece the way that Doe wanted it.
Oh.
So Somerset actually shoots him. There was another one where I think Mills was still going to shoot him, but Somerset tried to disarm him, and Mills actually shoots Somerset. Doesn't kill him, just wounds him, and then kills Doe anyways. But it kind of makes it seem like he wasn't going to, and Somerset would try to intervene. So that kind of wanted to kind of lessen the blow. There was one where I think it was a dog's head in the box, not actually Tracy's head.
Oh, because they play him up as a big dog guy, because he says when Somerset and Mills first meet Gwyneth Paltrow's character, Tracy is her name?
Tracy.
Yeah, when they first come for dinner, he runs into the other room and he's like, "Where are the kids at?" And they reveal that it's dogs and that he's a big dog guy. So that's interesting.
So a dog's head, a Tracy lookalike, some other blonde, but he wouldn't have found that out until afterwards.
Oh, to make him think.
Yeah, but it still wouldn't have been as bleak as killing his wife, his pregnant wife. So they had a lookalike, and then there was one where Doe kidnaps Mills and takes him to an abandoned church, and then there's like some shootout, some
90s style.
some hacky like detective movie.
Lethal Weapon.
Yeah. So there were those. I don't think any of them were actually shot, but they were trying to come up with ways to change it so it wasn't as dark as an ending. But I agree with what you said, Wesley. Is it would not have been nearly as effective if any of those other ones had played out.
Yeah, so I think sometimes we need to be grounded with, realism and not the Hollywood ending. And that's why I think New Line they were just scared that people weren't going to like it because it's too crazy.
Well, you can't keep making some middle of the road movie that everyone expects, and everyone's like, oh, the good guys are gonna prevail in the end. And what makes the movie so good is the bad guy wins. One of the good guys goes to jail, and his pregnant wife is dead. It's really fucked up. It's a really shitty, sad ending to that film. And I think that's that's part of what the Ernest Hemingway quote at the end is all about. Is the world is a fine place and worth fighting for. And he says he only agrees with the second part because you've been shown the world is not a good place. It's a shitty place, and shitty things happen.
All right.
Segue.
So Denzel Washington was offered Brad Pitt's role first, but turned it down. His reasons for this were the material was too dark and evil for him. But later on, when he actually went to the screening of the finished film, he regretted his decision and said, I should have totally taken this role.
I think it would have been cool to see him and Morgan Freeman together because, they were in Glory together. And it would have been cool to see him on screen again. But I kind of feel like Denzel Washington was probably a little bit old for that role because for me, I think it makes sense that, Brad Pitt, because he's younger. Yeah, he's younger than Denzel Washington. And obviously the character is like a younger detective, a younger hothead. Not saying that wouldn't have been a cool movie, just I think it works because Brad Pitt's younger than Denzel Washington.
Another person who was offered the role first and turned it down was Sylvester Stallone.
What?
For Brad Pitt.
What? even Sylvester Stallone was too old at that point.
Yeah,
for that role.
That would have been totally weird.
That would have been really weird.
The John Doe books were all actual books created for the film, and they cost $15,000 and took about 2 months to produce. And in the movie,
in all of them,
like they actually had stuff inside them.
That's badass.
It also took 2 months to create them. And in the movie,
2 months to read them all.
with 50 guys.
Working 24 hours.
So was it really 50 guys writing them?
I have no idea.
Because that would be a good little tidbit of information is there was actually 50 guys writing them for 2 months, and that way that statement is true that like 50 guys reading them would take 2 months.
Brad Pitt purchased all of his ties for the film, as he wanted Mills to have a very poor fashion sense.
Like your Gordon Gekko tie.
My Gordon Gekko tie is awesome.
Worst tie he owns.
You didn't even know what Gordon Gekko is.
From that one fucking movie.
This is regarded as the first A production for New Line Cinema.
Really? Mm-hmm. So I don't know what they were doing prior to this beyond, they made their name off of Nightmare on Elm Street. Mm-hmm. But I'd be interested to know what other movies they had before 7.
I know they did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in 1990. And Nightmare on Elm Street were all kind of nobodies at that point, right?
Yeah, but they were all hits.
No,
did they consider them not A because they were like low budget?
I think A-lister, when they say A-lister, is because they have Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, and then Fincher was considered
he was a big because he was a hot video director, music video director before he got into film.
This is considered the 8th scariest film ever made, according to Entertainment Weekly.
Really?
So, do you consider the horror film? Would you guys consider it a horror film?
I wouldn't.
I would say this goes into it. It all depends on what you perceive as a horror film. You know, one could say that this is like, you know, like CJ said, he thinks the town is heat done right. Well, I think Seven is.
I'm gonna have a beef with CJ over that.
I think, yeah, I know. I know exactly what you mean. But Seven is like Saw done right. To be honest, if you've seen Saw, I feel like that, like Saw is largely inspired by Seven.
Okay.
You know
I
what I
see
mean?
that.
And Seven is Saw without the fucking torture porn.
Okay.
It's like the porn.
You just don't see anything after.
Yeah, torture porn is
Yeah.
pulled out, and you got Seven. To be honest.
Okay. James, what would you say?
Oh, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Would you consider the horror film?
No, I don't think this is horror at all.
Okay.
I mean, just because you see the dead bodies and stuff.
Psychological thriller?
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah. I would
fits
go
it
with
exactly,
that.
perfectly.
And I would say the same thing about Silence of the Lambs, which is what this movie gets compared to a lot. Because I don't think Silence of the Lambs is a horror film either. I think it's a psychological thriller.
There's elements of horror.
There's elements
you know,
of horror.
cannibalism is scary.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, serial killers are scary.
Yeah.
But for the same reason that, you know, I wouldn't consider... Like, I never thought, you know, like Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween is necessarily a scary movie because it's more of a slasher film. It doesn't scare me. But, you know, they're obviously considered horror movies. But, like you said, what would you consider horror? What would you consider scary?
Well, it's like anything that you don't want to be in a scenario. You know what I mean? I feel like it kind of is a genre of horror.
Well,
you know what I mean?
like Green Room, you know, is kind of considered a horror movie, even though I wouldn't for 1 second say that it's a horror movie. But it's a fucked up movie in a fucked up situation. You know, so is that a real life horror? Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I feel like that plays into why people consider Seven scary because
Something that can actually happen.
some guy could fucking, you know, lose his fucking mind and start doing that for real. And so that it's like, at what point is something considered horror?
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother episode.
Okay. We'll have that episode.
But what were we talking about?
You were going over some Swan facts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You said it was the 8th scariest movie of all time, according to Entertainment Weekly.
Andrew Kevin Walker penned the script while working at Tower Records.
Oh, cool.
I'm jealous.
It took him about 2 years to finish this script
Really?
in its entirety. Yeah.
Can I say something about Andrew Kevin Walker?
Go ahead.
Do you know that he's also done uncredited work on a few other Fincher films?
No. What do you know what those titles are?
The Game and Fight Club. I don't know if he did uncredited work on Panic Room or not, but he is in Panic Room. He's got another little, you know, blink and you'll miss him cameo in Panic Room. But he's done work for Fincher on those films.
Very cool. A big reason Brad took the role of Mills was because he wanted to escape the kind of image he had created for himself being in Legends of the Fall. He wanted to escape the cheese, as he said.
Well, he escapes kind of the pretty boy image too, especially after he gets assaulted and beat up.
Yeah. I love that. That's a fucking great chase scene.
That is my favorite
that's
scene
awesome.
in the movie. Is that chase scene? Just the way that it's shot, the way it's edited, the Howard Shore score in the background, it's great.
And then when he gets to Brad Pitt's all fucked up and he gets to the what did they call it, the garbage truck, and that scene where they cut to his eyes and the barrels against his temple, holy shit,
Yeah.
so good.
And talking about the chase scene, Brad Pitt really got injured during that chase scene. That's why his arm is in the cast for the rest of the movie, because when they were filming the chase scene, he slipped going across the cars with all the rain coming down, and he actually put his arm through a windshield.
Oh, shit.
Oh, because he jumps over a few of the
Yeah, when he's running through the street, he jumps over the cars, and he actually slipped and put his arm through the windshield.